Hey, Warrior Goddess Sisters, welcome to our broadcast for month 3 of Warrior Goddess Training. And our focus for this month is around purifying the vessel. And so far we have Anne, Dawn, Susan, and Camille on our call. So welcome. Feel free to chat if you have any questions or comments. Let's go ahead and start with a brief grounding. You can go ahead and close your eyes. And taking a breath into your belly. And imagining that you can send your roots down into the earth beneath you. Sending a taproot deep, deep into the earth, and then letting your roots branch out and spread and sink into earth, connecting your energetic body to the energy of earth, to that stable, calm, mama energy. And letting your roots reach out and go deeper and deeper. And imagine that you can send your roots all the way down through the layers of earth to the very core, to the very heart of the earth. And that you can wrap your roots around that center core of energy. And then inhale, breathing up that energy. So big inhalations to pull that earth energy up through your roots. Imagine with every breath that you're pulling that energy closer and closer to your own physical body, letting it rise effortlessly up your roots. And then pulling that energy, big inhalation, bring that energy up into your body, imagining it coming up through your legs, up into your pelvis, low belly, low back. So filling the lower half of your body up by connecting to earth and letting that earth energy come up through you. Breathing this energy up your core. And you can really visualize even the color, the vibrancy of this earth energy arising from earth all the way through your roots, up into your body, pulling it up into your core, filling the trunk of your body. Good. And bringing it up into collarbone, shoulders, shoulder blades, letting it run down arms, elbows, wrists into your hands. Blessing your arms and your hands with this earth energy. And breathing it up into your throat and neck. And finally up into your head. And imagine now that you can open the very crown of your head and send your branches wide out to sky, using your imagination to imagine yourself as this tree with deep, stable roots, The energy flowing from earth through your body out to sky. Feeling the wind in your branches, the space all around you. Good. And now pulling in sky energy, using your imagination to feel that your branches can connect to sky, that vastness of space. Pull some of that sky energy in and let it move through your body and down to earth. Feeling how you have that connection between earth and sky. You're the channel. You're the bridge between earth and sky. You can let all your other worries or stresses go. Just let yourself be this bridge. With your feet on the earth and your roots deep, deep down, and your head held up high, your crown open, connected to source, to sky, to life. Good. And now coming into your heart and feeling, what are you grateful for in your life? And take that sense of gratitude and just let it wash through your entire being. And especially name what you're grateful to yourself for. What are you celebrating right now? Beautiful. And when you're ready, keeping that connection to earth and sky, when you're ready, you can open your eyes and be present here. Good. So in our journey together with Warrior Goddess Training, these last 3 months, we've learned some different tools, different exercises. So I want to start integrating some of the teachings so that we can bring them together in our body. And it's really important for us, part of purifying our vessel, part of being in relationship with ourselves, is that we're deepening intimacy with ourselves. And that we're also, part of that deepening intimacy is that we are reviewing what's happening. Where are we? What are the markers? And that we're doing that from a place of gratitude. So we're recapitulating not only our energy from the past, but we're also recapitulating what we've learned. We're gathering that back in to now. We sometimes get into habits where we learn a new tool, we use it for a little bit, and then we let go of it. Then we learn a new tool, we use it for a little bit, then we let go of it. And sometimes the tools don't work, or doesn't feel like it's in alignment with what we want to be doing right now. And that's fine. But sometimes there are tools that really work really well, but we don't use them. So I really want you to be a warrior goddess that has a lot of tools at her disposal, and that you can pull those tools in and use them regularly so that you're proficient with using them. So that when you're in a difficult spot, you know exactly what the tool is. Oh yeah, I'm going to use this tool. That's perfect. So just to review, start to anchor into our bodies more and more what we've learned over our time together. So we started with committing to ourselves, that yes of stepping in and saying, I will say yes to this relationship with myself. And we did a vision board together as our tool. And so that vision board is something that part of what we can do is now to integrate, is to look back at your vision board and just to see what has started shifting already. What did you forget that you put on there? Or where is the movement happening when you look at it? So that beautiful gift of the vision board, and also a practice of recapitulation. So that practice of going back into the past, gathering our energy so that it's completely present here. That we also then, month 2, started focusing on aligning with life, of how to be in relationship with the ebb and flow of life, recognizing that life is not stagnant, that it's not linear, that it goes in circles and spirals, and that we're constantly in an evolutionary process of birthing things and letting things die. And that there's great beauty in both the creation and the destruction, and both the letting go and the bringing in. And we started working with the elements and the different aspects of ourself, coming into a new relationship with recognizing that we're not just one part, that we're multiple parts, and that our mind, our emotions, our physical body, and our energetic body all need our love, care, support, presence. That we're coming into new relationship with each of these aspects of ourself, and learning to become more and more witnesses to the old stories that we tell ourselves, to the ways that our emotional body gets tweaked, to the ebbs and flows of our emotional body and our energetic body, and to how we are in relationship with our physical body. That we're curious and excited and listening to all 4 of these aspects of self. And that we also start to align with the cycles and seasons of nature, that there's beginning, spring, and there's the ending in the winter. And that as we tune more and more into the cycles around us, the cycles of nature and life, we come more into harmony with ourselves as well. And the tool that we worked with in month 2 is the elemental prayers. And these prayers are really beautiful connection to air, fire, water, and earth, which are also connected with the aspects of ourself. Air is connected with mind, fire with our energetic body, water, our emotional body, earth, our physical body. And we learned a practice to call in the best qualities of each of those elements to support us, to help us release what doesn't serve us and bring in what is in our highest good. Month 3, we are working with purifying the vessel. We started talking about strategies and these 4 main strategies that we carry, and how to come more into conscious choice in our relationships and in our relationship with life, our relationship with other humans, our relationship with ourselves, and our relationship with life. So those 4 strategies that we use to keep ourselves safe, but that often don't serve us, are controller, pleaser, isolator, and distractor. And just a reminder, all of us use all different parts of those strategies. We bounce in and out of those strategies. And that we each tend to have one main strategy that's our fallback, that's the most familiar. So as we talked about with the strategies, you can have a strategy that maybe you started with one and you morphed into another. What we want to look at is not the roles that we're playing in a different aspect of our life, but what are the strategies that we use out of fear or out of unconsciousness to create a sense of safety or a sense of, I know what's going on, I know what to do next. The ones that are habits, rather than the conscious actions that serve us. And as we work with cleaning the vessel, that we remember we are temples, that we're this beautiful temple that is not broken, is not beyond repair, just needs some extra love and care and attention, and that we're willing to bring that to ourselves and to learn how to nourish and support ourselves in a new way. What we'll be learning over the next 2 weeks, our final tool for this 3-month series, is the rattle. And I'm really excited to share the rattle with you because it's an incredible way to move energy. And my dear friend Emily will be coming on and teaching us about how to create a symbol so you can make a rattle for yourself that's your own. And I'll be giving you lots of different ways to create or go get a rattle and why rattles are so powerful in our relationship with cleaning and with our energetic body. A beautiful shamanic tool. So all of these different practices and tools that we're learning. Oh, and also ritual. There's the big one is ritual. And using ritual as a way to connect our inner world with the outer world and to create our prayer as art, to bring our prayers 3-dimensional. I was just talking with another class I teach called The Stalkers, and talking to the stalkers about how we have, I just lost my train of thought. That is so funny. Come back, come back. Oh well, I'll come back to it. So as we live in ritual, that we're integrating as we go along. And that we're bringing that sense of the sacred in everything that we do. So those many tools to come back home, because that's really what we're doing with Warrior Goddess Trainings. We're coming back home to ourselves, that the home isn't outside of ourselves, that the home is in here, that the home isn't our job, our partner, our good looks, that our home is a deep sense of respect for ourselves. And the desire to nourish who this being is, to uncover who this being is, to learn to love the being that we are, rather than the being we think we should be. We're also familiar with trying to be who we think we're supposed to be and the struggles that creates, the disconnect that creates, the frustration and heartbreak that creates. The truth is, you are perfect and whole exactly the way you are. That there's nothing missing, that there's nothing you have to go find to be complete. That really the only way to feel complete into yourself is to go within and to do so with great, great love for what you find. And that as warrior goddesses, we start using every situation in our life to support us to clean. This is what I was telling the stalkers, that we're either in the state that we want to be in, or we're praying to get into that state. So if we see ourselves as a temple, as a vessel that we're cleaning and clearing, there may be rooms where in the inside, you can imagine that you're walking to a room and you walk in and your whole body goes, yeah, it opens you, you feel happy, you feel centered. And that there's other rooms that you walk in and you feel stressed, you feel tight, you feel like jangly, and that we all have these different aspects of self. And so we want to just systematically pick an area and start working on it. Okay, just pick an area and start working on it. So I want you to take a moment. I need to go plug my computer in. So while I'm doing that, I want you to take a moment to write down, go grab a piece of paper and write down where are the areas in your life where you feel like, yes, I have this, or you feel a sense of confidence or completion, or that things are moving in your life. And it might be as simple as like, I'm celebrating right now. I just finally trained myself after years that when I get my laundry out of the dryer and put it into the hamper, that I hang stuff up immediately. And I'm also training myself that when I'm doing documents on my computer, that I file them immediately. Okay, so that's like huge success. That's a purifying action. Okay, it's a little external one, but it creates space internally as well. So write down all of those things. It doesn't have to be this huge, I've completed this, but that sense of what are you excited about in your life, or where do you see like there's movement happening? Write those things down of places that you can see that you're starting to purify your vessel. I'll be right back in just a couple minutes, or probably 1 minute. Okay. Good. So writing that list of where you see that there's movement happening in any way. That's movement towards purifying your vessel. Good. And it's very important for us, especially as women, to name our successes, to name where we have made changes, where there is movement, no matter how tiny it is. And then we not negate ourselves for those things. We want to keep gathering those up because those are what inspire us to keep going. For so many of us, we spend so much time judging ourselves and looking at what we haven't done, and that's just exhausting. So when we move towards purifying the vessel, it's not another way to punish ourselves because we're not pure and clear. So to just know that this concept of purifying your vessel is around creating a new container for yourself, and that container is your awareness, your compassion, your respect, your understanding, and your enthusiasm to be with yourself on this wonderful remodeling project that we all are. We're all in the process of joyful transformation. We can see it as drudgery and, oh my God, I can't believe haven't figured this out yet. But that's just not much fun. So I really invite you. It's a temple, it's sacred play. And that imagine that when you're in your temple and you're cleaning whatever you're cleaning, that the cleaning that you're doing is out of devotion to the goddess that you are. That you're in devotion to yourself. And that you see yourself as sacred, as valuable, as precious, because you are. And really, the only way to find that beauty is to name it for yourself, that you're not going to find it by how you look on the outside or how many people tell you that you're doing it right. It's going to come from cultivating day by day, minute by minute, step by step, a new relationship with yourself where you value who you are, where you honor your gifts. And where you're in a sense of sacred, connected to spirit, knowing that everything that's happening is helping you to find the truth of who you are. Because really, that's what we're seeking when we're purifying our vessel, is we're seeking what's the truth. And cleaning away any other cobwebs, stagnation, fears, doubts, old stories, old energies that don't serve us, so that we can become radiant and shining. That we reclaim that innate being that we have, beingness. We see that in kids. I just got to spend some time with a little 1.5-year-old today, and she's just radiating her light. And that each of us has that. It didn't go anywhere. It's there. Our childhood, playful beauty is there. Our creative child self is there. It's just about reconnecting to that part of ourself and saying, yes, I choose to bring you back. I choose to bring you back into this container of awareness and love. And just as we do that with our creative, wonderful child self, that we also do that with our scared self, that we do that with our angry self, that we do that with our fearful self, that we have all these different aspects, and that each of them is part of who we are. And just as when we worked with the strategies, there's a reason that we're doing the actions that we do. So when we can come back to having compassion for ourselves and our journey, and that whether we're controlling or pleasing or isolating or distracting, that we're doing it because we're trying to get something that we feel like we don't have, or manage a world that feels unmanageable, or try to be at okay with our emotional content. So there's this new perception that we want to call in, which is that when we notice ourselves in our strategy, that the feeling sense is, oh, sweetie, okay, what do you need? What are you scared of? How can I just be with this emotion? How can I open my heart? How can I listen to what's a better way of being? And that we know that it can take time for this sacred remodeling project that we are. But what else are we going to do? We're here to wake up to who we really are and shed the old skins, the old sense of self, the old sense of I have to be this way, and the old sense of I shouldn't be this way, so that we can just sink in and be with who we are. Shifting from being and resting into our beingness, rather than staying stuck in the do and being caught in that wheel of doingness. There's never an exit point to doing. There's never an end to the list. It's not that when you clean your internal world, or you clean your house, or you clean your old patterns around relationships, that then you'll be done forever and you'll never have to do anything again. And it's really that attitude that gets us into trouble, because it becomes an expectation of I'll be good when, I'll be okay when, I can be happy when I just clean this old stuff up. Instead, see the cleaning process as your life, and that you can bring great joy into the cleaning. It's like having the best treasure ever, and that excitement of like, oh, I can't wait to see what's underneath the grime. We don't look at the dirt and go, oh my God, it's faulty. I don't want this thing because it's got dirt on it. Thinking about this incredible treasure trove of gold coins, and that we open it and all the coins have stuff over, they're all tarnished and they have stuff over them. We don't just throw the treasure chest away because it's tarnished. We get a cloth and we start cleaning every single coin, and they shine as we clean them. They're not tainted at depth, just at the surface. There might be some stuff that needs to be cleaned off. That's a relationship that we want to have with ourselves, and that we have the patience for however long it takes to clean up certain aspects. And we do that by taking new action. Taking new action. So one of the things that we focused on this week is around experimentation and new action steps. And so when we run an experiment, we're letting go of, this is going to be the result of the experiment. We have a hypothesis, we have a thought of what might be the result, but we let go of the expectations of the outcome. And that we know that we're running the experiment either to get more information around something, or to change a pattern, belief, or habit that we have, to break things up, to break the energy up. And in experimentation, this is really important, has a beginning and an end. So you don't want to say, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, because that's too big. You want to have a beginning and an end, so that at the end you can look back and take in the data. What happened? Was that a successful experiment? What did I learn? What do I want to do next? It's such a gift to start taking action in this way, to clean from running experiments. because it means you can't get it wrong. You're just checking things out. You're trying stuff. So an experiment is a series of actions that you do over time and that you commit to running the experiment, even if in the middle you're like, oh my God, this is hell, or this isn't working, or I don't like this. That you stay with, I'm going to stay with this experiment and let the discomfort arise. Let the discomfort arise, whatever it might be. And that's part of the cleaning. If you can be with compassion and let there be discomfort, that does a whole lot. You can just breathe and be with yourself. The discomfort will shift, and you'll see sometimes what happens is that we start running experiments. We start getting uncomfortable because we're not trying to manage our lives anymore. We've changed how we're relating to our strategy. We're putting the strategy to the side and trying something else. And so what happens, naturally, what's going to happen is what the strategy was keeping down is going to start showing up. The places we haven't wanted to see, the places we have wanted to go are going to start showing up. And we can welcome them. Oh, hello, old emotion or old way of thinking. Hello. Let it move through without attaching to it. Be with ourselves with compassion with any emotions that are arising. And from that place, then if you keep going with the experiment, then you'll come to the other side. It's like, there's a great tarot card, one of my favorite ones is in the Mother Peace deck, the Four of Cups. And it's an image of a woman crossing the river. And she's just about halfway in the river. And the card message is about when you're going through change, when you're doing something new that's unfamiliar, sometimes it's like you get to the middle of the river and it feels like, oh no, it's too strong, and we back out. We go back instead of going forward. And the reminder that when you hit the center of the river, you're in the middle. When you hit the center of the intensity, you're in the middle. Keep going. Keep stepping forward rather than stepping back. Keep going. Keep running the experiment or taking a new action. And then see how everything will start to change. And it might not happen right away. It might take some time to percolate out through all the aspects of your life. But this way of living our life that we're running experiments is incredibly powerful. And you can start now by choosing, what experiment am I going to run? For example, now we're over the holidays. What experiment am I going to run over the holidays? Where am I going to put my focus? What actions am I going to take? I know one of the things that I struggle with is disappointing people. I do not like disappointing people. And so my experiment has been that when I feel like I'm disappointing someone, or when someone shows me they're feeling disappointed, to practice just breathing and staying with my discomfort and really tracking what exactly am I feeling, and not trying to make it go away or to try and make them stop being disappointed, but to just stay with what's arising. And I'm going to do that through the rest of this year. Continue to run that experiment of just staying with my breath, my presence, when I notice myself being freaked out about other people being disappointed. And what I'm learning in the middle of this experiment is that people don't stay disappointed. They might be disappointed and then they come back around again. But I had wired in my being this old belief, if people get disappointed, bad things are going to happen. Everybody's going to cut from you. They're no longer going to love you. I had this big, old not truth happening that as I'm running the experiment, I'm noticing, you know what? That isn't true. People come back. They get disappointed and then you work it out and it's fine. Example of another experiment. I'm also going to start, I haven't quite started yet, but I've got to set the date. And that's the thing, hard start date, hard end date. Really important with running experiments. But I know from having lived in Texas for the last 7 years or so, or 8 years, that in January, there's something we get here called cedar fever. And it's because the cedar pollen is so intense that people get really sick. And the last couple of years, I've gotten really, really sick from cedar fever. And I know for me, one of the things that happens is it's when I'm eating a lot of sugar and I'm stressed out. So I'm getting closer to setting the cutoff date of no more sugar after this period, and running that experiment of how else can I nourish myself between now and the end of January, which is kind of the window for cedar fever. So I know that it's sugar that's the culprit from previous experiments. And now when I say to myself, okay, we're going to run an experiment, what's the parameters? I can get really clear about what the parameter is. It absolutely no sugar? Is it sugar once a week? Is it sugar as long as it's not refined sugar? So when you're running an experiment, you want to get really clear what exactly is the experiment and what are the parameters, put them in place, and then write them down, track yourself over time. So for those of you that are going home for the holidays, that might be a great thing to run an experiment around. How are you going to be different? So look back at how you've been in the past, what's happened in the past. And again, not to fix anybody else, but to say, how can I be different? What experiment can I run to change my patterns, reactions, behavior, or to gather more information? And mostly have fun running the experiments. It's not a, I have to do it right. That's not fun. Be a excited, enthusiastic scientist of yourself. And that you are the scientist and the sacred goddess of your own clearing and cleaning. And so make it fun, make it a joy. There's a lot of different ways to do that, but the biggest way is your attitude. That your attitude is such that you know you can do this. Or you trust that you're being guided. Or you're willing to try, even if you don't have that faith in yourself. You're willing to try. And let yourself be held by the circle with whatever experiments or cleaning that you're doing. So get clear about what experiment you want to run coming up over the next week or so. What's the experiment? And then next week, we're going to work on, or play with, I should say, a recapitulation practice to just bring that back around, work with that tool of recapitulation again. And we'll also be then on the website introducing the rattle and how to create your rattle and what the rattles are for. And you'll also get to meet my dear friend, Emily. I'm excited about that. So gratitude to each of you for tuning in today and for giving yourself the gift of creating space just for you. Wonderful, wonderful. Big hug to each of you. And thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.